This video will show you the prime factorization method for finding the greatest common factor of two numbers. This is the method that I've shown you in class, and this is the first step in factoring out the greatest common factor of a polynomial. So in this, we're going to focus only on finding the greatest common factor. So I'm going to find the greatest common factor, the GCF, of 28x squared y and 16x x squared yz. So the first step is to write the monomial in prime factor form. That means using only prime numbers multiplied together. So 2, 3, 5, things like that. Usually the numbers we use are fairly small numbers, 28, 16. We're not going really much larger than that. The process would be the same if it's a larger number. It would just be longer. So we're going to take 28 x squared y, and we're going to write it as prime factors. So any number that's even has 2 as a prime factor. So I'm going to write it 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. So now I'm factoring 14. 14 is also even, so I can pull out a number 2, another 2, divide it by 2, and I get 7. 7 is prime. So 277 is 28 written as prime factors. The variables are easy. If I've got x squared, that's just x times x. And I've got a y to the first power, that's just 1y. And so if I multiplied those 6 things back together, then I would get 28x squared y. I'm going to do the same thing with 16. It's going to be all 2's though, because I take 16 and I divide by 2, and I get 8. If I take 8 divided by 2, I get 4. If I take 4 divided by 2, I get 2. So 16 is just 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And I have x squared, so I'm going to write 2 x's, and I have a y, and I have a z. Okay, so I've written my two numbers in prime factored form. If I had 3 numbers, I would do the same thing, just I would have a third number in prime factored form. And now I'm going to look for anything that occurs in both numbers, and I'm going to factor it out. I'm going to see, I have a 2, so I'm going to factor out a 2. I see I have another 2 that occurs in both, so I'm going to write 2 down again. That's going to become my greatest common factor. Now I come to 7. 7 occurs in the first but not in the second. And I have 2 2's in the second number, and there's no 2's left in the first. So I'm done with my whole numbers. I see an x that occurs in both, so I'm going to copy down an x and put a line through it. I see another x, line through it, copy it down. I see a y, line through it, copy it down. Okay? Whether you put a line through it, you scribble it out, I don't care what you do. Circle them both, that's up to you. And that's it. Those are all the things that occur in both. There's 2 pairs of, there's 2 2's, and there's 2 x's, and there's a y. And so now I'm going to take this number, and I'm going to multiply that back out. 2 times 2 is 4, x times x is x squared, and y is by itself. So the GCF, the greatest common factor of 28x squared y and 16x squared y, z is 4x squared y.